What's up everybody, this is Adrian from Rabona TV. What's good? And of course in this video we are going to be going over all the goings on from the Champions League semi-finals, and I'll throw in a bit of my opinion in there as well. It's just my opinion. It's okay for us to disagree. Just remember that, okay? And hey, if you want to win a new Rabona TV sweater of some kind, I'm not wearing one right now because it's way too hot in here, then go over to the 10K special to see how. I'm going to be picking a winner in the video tomorrow, the next video that I'm doing. So enter ASAP, alright? Oh yeah, and subscribe if you're new around here. What's wrong with you, man? What are you waiting for? Bayern versus Real Madrid, and just to quickly remind you of what happened and what we're dealing with here, Real Madrid, playing at home, find themselves a goal down after just 3 minutes from their new nemesis, Joshua Kimmich, the free scoring Joshua Kimmich. But just 8 minutes later, Marcelo finds Karim Benzema with a beautiful ball to the back post, and it's all level here. But of course, this happened.
De Kiev pour disputer la l'erreur! L'erreur d'Ulreich, le doublé de Benzema!
2-2 it ended, with 2 from Karim Benzema, with Bayern going out 4-3 on aggregate. So, the first thing that I see on the internet is people talking about, oh, Bayern should have had a penalty in the first half stoppage time. Here's the incident in case you missed it. Should that be a penalty? I mean, yeah, and Marcelo would agree with you. At one point it looks like the ball hits your hand. Yeah, it does, it hits my hand. So it's a penalty then? Well, if it hits my hand, I think so. But if we really boil it down, like right down, at the end of the day, the referee didn't make the call. It wasn't given, and Bayern have to live with that and play on. It's unfortunate for them, but that's football, and sometimes the odds are stacked against you. And UEFA keeps on reiterating that they don't want to bring VAR to the competition, so until that happens, these kinds of mistakes will be made. We aren't talking about this particular subject here, by the way, so keep watching. It has to be said, Bayern didn't help themselves at all by not being clinical over the 180 minutes. Did they play a little better perhaps? I mean, if we're talking about possession and sustained pressure on your opponent, then yeah, Bayern probably did play better in that regard. But like Toni Kroos said, and I know he plays for Madrid, but he has a good point. Bayern were perhaps the better team, but Real Madrid were the more clinical team, and that's all that matters in the end. Sure, the Sven Ulreich slip had a lot to do with him getting through, as he was caught in 2 minds and made the mistake of his life, probably, but we can't assume that Bayern would have won it if it had gone on to extra time. Just like some think that Madrid would have lost if they had gone to extra time against Juve. Just as they could have gone on to lose in extra time, they could go on to win all the same. It's all extremely speculative at that point. Here's what I do know for sure. Zinedine Zidane is still yet to lose a single Champions League knockout tie with Real Madrid, and this is coming from 3 seasons worth of Champions League fixtures, not just a one-off season. He's become the first manager to make 3 consecutive Champions League finals since Marcelo Lippi did it from 1996 to 1998 with Juventus. I also know that this is a performance in which players who have gotten flack in the past from the media, from fans, and hell, even from me, rose above and were integral to getting Real Madrid into their 4th final in 5 seasons. I'm talking about Keylor Navas, who I've always said is a solid keeper, but has many mistakes in him. Today, he was lights out. He didn't put a foot or a hand wrong throughout the 90 minutes of football, making 8 saves. That's the most he's ever made in a Champions League knockout game. Karim Benzema not only scored 2 goals, which is more than he had scored in his previous 12 matches combined, but he scored his 54th and 55th career Champions League goals. The only active players with more Champions League goals are Lionel Messi and of course Cristiano Ronaldo. But Benzema also got it done defensively with 7 possession recoveries, which was more than any other player in this match. And I mean, we also gotta give respect to Ronaldo, who maybe didn't do anything in this instance, but broke the appearance record for outfield players. With his 152nd appearance coming in the second leg versus Bayern, he surpassed Xavi's record of 151. And also, respect to Lucas Vazquez, who filled in at right back quite nicely for Dani Carvajal. Besides getting caught a little too far forward on an occasion or two, he did quite well. Rafa Varane and Sergio Ramos were incredible in this game too, as they were blocking shots left, right, and center, making important tackles throughout the 90 minutes also. And on the other side of the pitch, what can you say about Joshua Kimmich? He scored for the 2nd time in this tie, as he took his goal involvement for the season up to 20 goals, with 14 assists and 6 goals. Now, if only Robert Lewandowski could have matched his performance a little bit, as he's undoubtedly one of the best strikers, if perhaps not the best in the world. But after this week's match, that makes for 5 consecutive Champions League matches in which he's failed to score. And this is what I'm talking about with Bayern not being clinical enough. Look at Müller at the end of the match. I don't think it was as good of a chance as some are making it out to be, but still, that extra bit of anticipation, that extra bit of ruthlessness in the finishing category, aka the one thing that Madrid had despite being outplayed at times, and perhaps this tie would have looked different. That moment sort of epitomized this entire tie for Bayern Munich in my opinion. So, like I said earlier, Real Madrid weren't great, but they were effective. And a strong side wins when they aren't at their best. Real Madrid weren't at their best, but that doesn't mean they're undeserving of going through. Remember, they had to go through PSG and Juve to get to this point. 2 league leaders, 2 league champions, I should say. So they deserve to be in the final. If they don't start bleeding in more talent defensively, however, I don't know if this squad would be capable of pulling this off for another year running. So yeah, congrats to Real Madrid on their achievement of their 1 millionth UCL final in a row. Roma versus Liverpool, and where to start here? Well, let's just take it from the beginning, as Liverpool found themselves twice leading in this match, only to be pegged back on each occasion. First, Sadio Mane scored, assisted by Roberto Firmino. That was the first goal that Roma has conceded at home in the Champions League, and was Firmino's 16th assist across all competitions, just 4 behind Kevin De Bruyne as far as Premier League players go. Roma found their breakthrough thanks to James Milner. Yes, you heard that right, as Big Verge's big clearance went straight off of James Milner's marble block of a head. That guy truly has an incredible head on him. Looks solid as a Geodude. And then history was made as Gini Wijnaldum put Liverpool ahead with a flicked header. That was in fact the first time he had scored an away goal since coming to the Premier League. We're talking about including his time at Newcastle. He went to the Premier League in 2015. That's wild. First away goal in almost 3 years. With that goal, Liverpool broke the record for the most goals scored in a single Champions League campaign. Combined with the 5 goals they scored against Hoffenheim in the playoffs, Liverpool took their tally up to 46, breaking Barcelona's record of 45 from the 1999-2000 season. Now, Roma equalized in the second half via a banger from Radja Nainggolan that found its way off the post and in. Now, there's 2 things we gotta talk about in the spirit of being balanced here. First, there was the incident where Dzeko found himself one-on-one with Karius, cut around the keeper, and was hauled down by an outstretched Karius' arm, only to have been adjudged to have been offside. Therefore, the trip didn't matter. The thing is though, Dzeko wasn't offside in this situation, so it should have been a penalty. Lucky break for Liverpool there. At least according to this replay. Now this is the only replay I found, so hey. Of course we can't forget in the first half, however, when Mane went down from a Manolas challenge in the box that wasn't given for a penalty as well. To me, that one wasn't as clear and was the type of penalty where if it's not given, I'm happy, but then again, if it's given, I can see why. You know? Could go either way. However, the same can't really be said for the 2 missed pens for Roma, as the second one, as you can see, the hand wasn't in a natural position, and Alexander-Arnold, and by extension his team, gain a massive advantage. Especially looking at the final aggregate score. But then the plot thickens and twists once again with the awarding of a penalty for the Klavan incident. His arms are at his side, then the ball is played to his hand, and technically his team gained an advantage from it, but it's a bit harsh. I'm not saying it's completely wrong, but it's a little harsh. See, you feel bad for Klavan a bit because he was doing all he could to keep his arm close, but it was evened out a bit, I guess, by the fact that the Alexander-Arnold penalty wasn't given. Or perhaps if you're a Roma fan, you see it just for a grand injustice, given that the 2 missed penalties play a big role in their 7-6 aggregate loss. And that begs the question for you guys to answer. Should VAR be brought into the Champions League for the following season? As I said earlier, UEFA is very stubborn on this subject and don't seem to want to bring it into the game. Before, a lot of fans said, nah, f it, VAR slows the match down way too much and I'd rather have human error. But I'm just curious if there's Bayern fans out there that would have preferred human error, or Roma fans, hell, even Liverpool and Real Madrid fans. It's not like those 2 teams haven't been on the wrong side of a bad call before, especially in this tournament. And that's exactly where I personally feel conflicted. I believe that in the end, for the most part, things do even out down the stretch. You may benefit from some luck now and then, and you may get hurt by a lack of it as well at times. That's sort of how football is. But then there's still a strong part of me that's growing louder and louder all the time that's saying, nah, fuck that. I'm sick of going out of competitions because of the referees. I'm sick of the incompetence of a man who isn't even competing has an effect on my team's fortunes in this competition. Sorry, this is getting a little bit long-winded and I may be guilty of a bit of an indecisive rant here, but I also believe that in my doing so, it sort of illustrates the point that there are tons of aspects to consider, and that's why it has everyone so split. I'm not right, I'm not wrong, I'm just one opinion. I do want to hear your opinion on the matter though, so let me know in the comments section, guys. All of that said, Liverpool versus Real Madrid is the final that I wanted to see as a neutral, as someone who supports Benfica and just wants to see entertaining, attacking football. God, that would be refreshing. Last year, I was really looking forward to Juve versus Real, and this year I'm looking just as forward to Real Madrid versus Liverpool. I hope you enjoyed this video at least as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And if you're new around here, then consider subscribing to help out the channel. My name is Adrian, and enjoy the Europa League matches, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.